Boom! There it is, ladies and gents, ready to rock and roll. Welcome to the jungle. A few minutes late, but we're here and ready to rumble. One podcaster to another. We're ready to have a conversation. What it's like building a brand, running a podcast, and just doing the damn thing, meeting new people. So let's do this. Here we go.
Shut up and sit down.
The Business Bros Podcast was created for you. Learn from the business professionals who come to share their stories. Find out what's working in business and social media, what's hot and what's not, straight from the mouths of successful entrepreneurs out there doing the real work. And now, welcome to another episode of
Business
Bros.
Yeah.
We even had somebody chiming in before the show.
What up, Business Bros? All right, Ham, drop the heat, baby.
All right, all you business pros out there, before we jump into the show, just a quick reminder to please subscribe on whichever platform it is that you're listening to us on today. Give us a like, give us a follow, subscribe, drop a review, help other like-minded guests, like-minded business owners find value from our awesome guests while we rise up in those podcast rankings. We'll sincerely appreciate every single one of you for it, and if you want to be a guest on the show, we'd love to have you on to learn from you as well. Go to www.businessbros.biz, schedule your time, and don't forget to follow us on all our social medias at Business Bros Pod. All right, everybody, we're so excited and honored to bring yet another incredible guest to the Business Bros Pod. God, family, finance, self. These are the guiding principles for our guest, who recently hit 100 episodes on his podcast, where he discusses the challenges men go and grow through while leading with God at the forefront. Our guest is a passionate CEO, founder, and thought leader who has a deep passion and desire to help others. He is dedicated to the education, encouragement, and development of young men, fighting in the face of a society bent on tearing these men down. By providing resources for those seeking entrepreneurship and passive income opportunities, useful relationship tips, dynamic speakers, and thoughts on trending topics, our guest hopes to reach his audience and help them succeed. If you find yourself about to send your child off to school for the first time, needing to heal from toxic relationships, or curious about getting into the hemp industry, these are just a few of the topics covered by our guest, and I can't wait to see what we talk about today. Joining us today, .com Magazine's Impact Company of the Year award winner for 2021 and host of the Gentleman's Style podcast. Welcome to the show, Marcus Norman.
That's great. That's what
Oh, fire, Marcus. Welcome to the program, man.
Thank you all. Thank you all for having me. Pleasure to be here. I appreciate you all.
Oh, dude, 100 episodes. That is one tremendous feat. There are so many people who start a podcast and never get past that 7 or 12 marker. Pod fade ends up happening. And then you get technical difficulties like yesterday where, it's only Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, but it felt like the internet shut down yesterday. Tell me a little bit about why you got this whole podcast started and how did that affect you?
Yesterday was kind of traumatic. For me, I felt distraught. I was very concerned because I was in the middle of an interview, but we just plugged through it. I was still on YouTube. I was still on Twitch. And so I still continued on and I pressed forward and I just innovated like we all do, right? That's what we do. We just roll with the punches on these shows. The podcast was started. Thank you for the fabulous intro. It's always weird to hear yourself, but the podcast was started to give men an opportunity to have one single location that you can get information on anything, whether it be real estate, relationships, right? You got to go here, you got to go there, business, starting a business, going self-employed. So there's no central location for that. So that's what the podcast was started for.
So can we talk about venting and letting things go, or does it get like hostile? Do we start, vax, unvax? Do you get all kinds of crazy stuff on your podcast, or is it mostly on the business side?
So I get some unique hosts, like I get some unique guests on the show. Like, for example, I had a sex professional on the show. And, that's important in relationships, right? And no one wants to talk about it because it's so sensitive. We're all very sensitive around the topic of sex, but we still need to know, right? And so I brought a sex expert on the show to talk about the things that nobody else wants to talk about. So unique stuff like that. During COVID, I had a lot of experts who wanted to talk about COVID and vitamin D and the benefits of having vitamin D in your system, and went during COVID and how you can fight back. So a lot of talks around that. So I adjust with my audience and I adjust during the times. And of course, real estate, ATM business, starting an ATM business. That was a great interview, and investing in real estate, of course.
Dude, so I have your episode as making money with ATMs, but I think that's off, right? ATMs and podcasting. So did you actually start an ATM business as well, or was that just the guest that was on your show?
Both. So I started an ATM business as well. So I have a portfolio of about 12 ATMs that I manage and operate myself. And right, no one wants to listen to me. So I brought an expert who had been doing the business for 30 years. He had hundreds and hundreds of ATMs, and I brought him on the show to talk about it because it is a really great stream of income. Besides, working a traditional 9 to 5, no one wants to talk about these things. So the ATM business is a unique opportunity. I don't want to deal with snacks, right? I don't want to do vending. I don't want to deal with chips because all those things expire. You got to deal with FDA, and you got to swap out the food if no one buys it. But I like dealing with cash. It's very simple. It's very easy. I just stock up cash, and that's it.
Are you the one actually doing the stocking of the cash, or do you have like armored truck guys that come in and make the change on that stuff?
So you can, right? You can hire an armored truck. You can hire Brinks. You can hire Dunbar to fill it, but you have to pay them a percentage of the machine, right? And so starting out, you don't want to, you need every penny, right? And so when I first started, I did it myself, and I still do it to myself. And I've tried to hire people. But everyone got comfortable with the stimulus, right? Everyone got comfortable with the
during COVID times. You're talking about unemployment.
Yeah, everybody got comfortable with unemployment. So they're like, well, it's like, well, I make more money doing this. I'm like, the money's going to run out at some point. What are you going to do then? And it did. So I still made money even during the pandemic.
Dude, that's a good way to go. I want to know, I'm a little curious about the ATM machine thing. Mainly because I feel like there's a movement, a shift into more of a cashless society. And especially in the last couple of years. How has that affected the ATM business? Does it still look like a hefty prospect, or is it something that's slowly working its way out? Or are you shifting over? Because I've seen some ATM machines that do any type of like Bitcoin type transactions.
Yes, so my ATMs as well can do Bitcoin as well. So they can do Bitcoin, and you can buy and purchase and sell Bitcoin on my machines as well. So still dealing with cash.
Nice.
Still, if you need cash, but if you want to buy Bitcoin, there's a partnership with Liberty X that my machines are registered on. So all Liberty X clientele are on their website, and if someone is searching to buy Bitcoin, my machine pops up in their search engine as available or closest to you. So they get the information and the address of my Bitcoin ATM, and they drive to it and they make a purchase.
How do you? Okay, well, so a couple questions. One, where do you get your machines from? Is that something? And is it super expensive to get started?
I get my machines from a processor. So there are many processors. There's Codtronics, there's ATM Depot, there's Payment Alliance. There's many different processors out there. And these are the processors that sell and also offer services. So when you get an ATM, it's not expensive. It's an investment, right? You got to get out of the mindset of, that's what I had to do. I had to get out of the mindset of how much this costs and realize what I was going to gain long term. And so the average machine runs between 2,500, depending on the customizations of it. If you want multiple cassettes, if you want a bigger screen, if you want a camera on it, do you want a topper on the top of it for advertisement purposes? So the more customized the machine is, the more expensive it becomes. And so you get a machine that ranges about 2,500, and the most expensive is 4,500 to 5,000. But that's just what you want on it and just the features that you want on it. And no, it's not expensive at all, because my first ATM, when I placed it, started making money within the first hour.
So what kind of revenue are you seeing from an ATM? I mean, I'm assuming location, like anything else, right? But assuming, well, let's talk about that. Assuming that you get a good location, what does a good location look like? What kind of revenue can we expect?
Perfect. So the revenue you can expect is based off of the fee that you collect or the fee that you set up for the machine. And so let's start with $2.50 per transaction. That's $2.50 per transaction. Let's just say it's a slow day and the machine only does 10 transactions that one day, right? So 250 times 10 is $25. That's not going to change anybody's life. That's not going to make you, quit your job, right? But times $25 times 30 days in a calendar month. And that's $750 for one machine doing 10 transactions a day, right? That's a
That's
car
not
note.
that's not bad, man. I mean, for those who don't math very much, you spend $5,000 on a machine. That's $500 a month. Less than what you're saying is $6,000. So you're already profitable at $500 a month. You're at 750. So you already got your money back in year one. That's a damn good ROI.
That is an incredible ROI, and it's an overlooked business.
All right. So what makes a good location, and how many transactions make it a good location?
Anything over 100 transactions make it a great location. And also, is there a need, right? I've met, just kind of like podcasting, I've met a lot of people that got into the business and they burn out, right? And they burn out because they don't invest the money. They spend every dime that the machine makes and they don't use it to grow, right? I take the cash from the machine and I use it to market. I use it to promote. I use it to find new locations. So anything over 100 is a pretty good location.
100 transactions per day?
100 transactions per month.
Okay.
Absolutely. Well, no, you're right. 100 transactions per day. So if it's so gas stations make good locations. Laundromats, elderly communities are good locations because the elderly still want to deal with cash for some strange reason. Cash only laundromats, right? What else? I have a bar, right? I have bars, I have barbershops, right? Barbershops that they're 1099s and they want to collect rent from their booth guys or their customers, right? Their customers want to pay with cash, but the barber doesn't want to pay Cash App that fee, right? If you Cash App somebody, you have to pay a fee to get that money expedited to you, right? Versus they made money going to that machine. You got the owner got paid, I got paid, and then the customer paid with cash, so there's no fee. So everybody wins in that transaction. Barbershops, cash only laundromats, apartment complexes, gas stations, you name it. I just did a major event at an agriculture fair. So horseback riding, llama riding, goats, right? And they had 100 vendors at the site. Well, it was in the middle of nowhere, so there was no signal. But my ATM, I transacted over $6,000 at that event.
Ooh. So you can decide to move your machine at any given time, sounds like, or place it at venue locations like that. What kind of restrictions do you have? I mean, and I got a ton of questions on this. What kind of restrictions do you have as far as where you're placing these things? And I guess, you talked about the signal. Is that like some of the restrictions that we can expect?
Yeah, so right, you got to be conscious. So I've been doing this for about a couple years now. So I had the experience. You can get a booster for your ATM because my ATMs, you don't have to. I put my ATMs on their own internet service. So I don't use the owner's internet. Even though some vendors will do that. They'll put the ATM in the business and then they'll hook up to the owner's internet signal via a LAN port or a plugin. Well, that's dangerous because if the ATM and your register are hooked onto the same network, when the internet goes down in the building or the building lose power, lose internet, your ATM is down as well. So I put my ATMs on their own internet service. So when I was out in the middle of nowhere and people had no signal, my ATMs had a booster on them. So I put an internet Wi-Fi booster on them and I put 2 antennas. I put additional antennas in the machine. So I was still able to get signal and do transactions when people couldn't do Cash App in the middle of nowhere because their phones don't have a signal out there.
Are you ever worried about theft? Like what happens to the machine? Who's watching it? Where is it? Is it a specific location type stuff?
Absolutely. I'm always conscious about theft and vandalism. So my machines are insured. So I put insurance on them and I put insurance on the cash. That's number one. All my machines are bolted or fastened to the space. And so if I have a standalone machine or a wall mounted machine, it is bolted to that wall or that floor. So I'm gonna drill holes in it and bolt that machine down with anchor bolts. They're about 6-inch anchor bolts that go deep. So no one's, he-manning this thing up and putting it on their back and walking off. And so that's one security. I have insurance. I bolt my machines to the wall or the floor. And then what else do I do? So I don't tell anyone when I'm coming by. Most businesses that I have, they give me a key. Right. So I don't announce when I'm coming by. I'm not Dunbar. I'm not Brinks. I am very incognito. Right. Right. I'm going to walk in like this and
With a bag full of cash.
with a small bag full of cash or a backpack or something discreet. That's something that doesn't stand out. So I come in with a backpack looking like this, and I tell all owners, do not announce who I am. Right. Do not tell anyone. So I come in all hours of the night. I can come anytime I want because I have a key. So that keeps me safe, and that keeps me. So those three things: insurance, bolting to the floor, and the shift in showing up whenever I want. I don't tell anyone. Even the owner doesn't know when I'm going to come.
All right, so that gives you the anonymity you need from the public. And you mentioned that you can hire some of these companies to come in and deliver the cash. You said a percentage. I'm assuming, like any smart business, they're taking a percentage of the gross distributed from that machine.
It depends. So Brinks, for example, so if your ATM is going to charge $2.50 and they're putting their cash in it and they're filling it, they may want $1 to $1.50 of that fee. So you earn the safety and the benefit of using Dunbar's cash to fill the machine, but you're losing out on net profits overall. So they don't take a gross, they take a percentage of the fee of that machine.
Say that again. A profit. They take a gross profit of the entire machine.
They don't take a gross profit. So if the machine is $2.50, they want $1.
Okay.
Of each transaction.
So the revenue taken in. So you're down to $1.50 per transaction. All right. So that makes sense. All right. So that's cool, but that's not a bad business, right? I mean, so you're essentially providing people with the cash that they need. You have a automated business. How often are you going out to refill these machines? Because that's really where the work comes in. You said that people get burned out on it. How often are you going out?
So I go out every couple of weeks. I've gotten to the point between 11 ATMs that I'm able to fill them, and they last a good while. In the beginning, I was going out every other day, right? Because I was, once you buy the machine, you also have the cash you have to put the cash in the machine, right? And so doing those things, I didn't have a lot of cash in the beginning. Now, the average machine can hold $10,000 to $20,000.
Oh,
and so
okay.
So you visit the machine as much as you're willing to put into the machine. And there are algorithms and there are metrics that you can test and run to figure out the traffic that this machine generates. And it'll actually tell you, your processor will tell you, hey, if you want this machine to last from this day to this day, the algorithm says put this much cash in based off of the average of the machine, how it's been producing.
So the burnout happened at the beginning because essentially you just didn't have the cash to fill it to the 10 to 20 grand and times the number of machines that you end up getting. So that's why people get burnt out, because they invest in this machine. It might be a good chunk of the money that they have saved up or ready to invest. They get the machine, but then they can only fill it with so much of their own cash.
I have a question.
Right? Yeah, go for it, Ham.
So you have to somehow convince all of these business owners also to allow you to put your machine into their businesses. And I feel like that's one of the hardest things, especially when it comes to the high traffic areas that you're talking about. Can you talk about some things that you've shared and some experience that you've had in putting machines in high traffic areas and the conversations that you've had with those business owners?
Absolutely. So it's actually the easiest part is the negotiation. I tell you, hey man, I want to put ATM in your business. Everyone has a general idea of how an ATM functions. And unlike, I used to do sales, so I sold life insurance. I did business to business. I worked for State Farm, Aflac. So door to door sales was what I was familiar with. And so, unlike insurance, that's a complex thing, right? Your policy is going to do this. If you die, this is how much it's going to pay out. This is how much your wife is going to get. That's a complex thing. But I walk up to a business owner, a barbershop owner who understands how an ATM generally operates. Right. That's an easy conversation. That's an easier conversation than most traditional sales. And so I oftentimes, as soon as I walk into a bar or a barber shop or a gas station, I said, my name is Marcus Norman. Here's my business card. And I do ATMs. That that's the hardest part, is getting them to see that you're in the business for real. So I show them my website, I show them my business card, and I show them pictures of previous installs that I've done. And the machine, and the easiest part is the machine doesn't cost them a thing.
Mhm.
So that's the benefit to the business owner, because the business owner doesn't have to pay for the machine. I am fronting the money, I'm servicing the machine, and you get a free ATM in your high volume, high traffic location. That's an easy sale. The business owner doesn't have to cough up any money. He doesn't have to maintain it. And he understands the general concept of how the machine functions and how he's going to make money. So that's an easier sale than most traditional sale products.
So you don't get any objections then?
No. What I usually get is negotiating the price, right? So that's where the money comes in. So for example, I had a gas station owner that wanted me to front the money, he wanted me to fill the machine, and he wanted me to buy the machine, but he wanted all of the fee.
How's that work?
It doesn't. It doesn't. He was crazy. So that was obviously a deal I walked away from. Because I asked him, I said, what's the point of this? Why would I put my machine? Why would I front the money? Why would I fill it? And you collect the entire fee? And he said, well, it's advertisement for you. I said, get out of here.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.
Yeah. All right. So what about the business owner? I'd imagine one of the greatest benefits is when you're dealing with cash, you're not dealing with credit card processing fees. So isn't that a huge saving in and of itself? I mean, they got a ton of transactions right there going through. Is that one of your sales pitches? Do you have any machines that are in there essentially rent free to the benefit of the business owner?
Absolutely. So they are in there rent free. The owner just sits back and collects the profits. He doesn't do any of the work. And again, the ATM is an attractor. So if you put a sign on your gas station that says ATM inside, because people think gas stations, right? People think the money is made at the gas pump. No, the money is made on the inside of the gas station. The owner has to try and convince you to come inside, whether it be to buy smokes, to buy juice, to buy chips, to buy cigarettes. So the owner who is trying to get you to come inside, if I put a sign out that says come inside ATM in here, you're likely to come inside, you're likely to make a withdrawal, and chances are high that you're going to make a purchase, even small. And yes, the owner is going to save and reap the benefits because he doesn't have that credit card processing fee to worry about. So multiple benefits. Again, the ATM, once you're advertising that an ATM is here, people tend to want to come inside. The money isn't made at the gas pump. The money is made from what you buy in the store.
All right, so that's the story on cash. What about the newer venture? So you said your machines are able to essentially buy digital currencies. How's that started to affect your business?
It's just another stream of income. It's affected it in a good way as the world transitions and people gravitate to the concept of being able to that Bitcoin is no longer a fad. It's no longer a trend or something that's hip. It's actually here to stay. And so as people transition over and as people's mindset shifts, because that's going to take time. That's the hardest part, right? Bitcoin is already here. It's just gravitating all those people over to a new system and a new currency and a new style of paying for items. For example, when chip readers came in, that took years to implement, right? It took all these business owners had to upgrade their chip readers, their card swipers to chip enabled readers. That takes time. That doesn't happen in the span of a couple weeks or months. And so the same expectation is going to happen with Bitcoin. And as an ATM operator, you have to be prepared to transition over, which we're going to benefit. Also, the Bitcoin fees are higher. So versus a $2 and $3 fee, the Bitcoin ATM charges about $8 per transaction. So there's even more money to be made, and it's a cashless system. So there's no refilling. I just sit back and, I see the transaction volume and I get paid every single month.
Dude, that is fire. I mean, that's really what we're in the business for. And I love how you talked about the change taking time. I teach a class called financial algebra, and right now we're talking about bank accounts. So I teach high school seniors, right? We're talking about bank accounts. There's this whole section in this book that's old now, but talking about check registers and checks themselves. And this year was really eye-opening for me to sit back and be like, I'm talking about the whole spiel about checks and balancing your checkbook, all that stuff. And then it kind of hit me. And I was like, how many guys ever seen a check before or received a check before? It was like 1 or 2 kids in the entire class raised their hand. And I was like, no kid gets a check. If they want to send cash, they Venmo it, right? Or they Cash App it, or they Zelle. And that's the idea or the thought process of let me write you a check is aging its way out. So when you talk about, people taking time for them to use Bitcoin, it's that idea of we need a whole generation to grow up utilizing this new technology before it really becomes mainstream and pushes everybody who had never used it before out. Is that about right?
That's exactly it. It's going to take time. Unfortunately, the older generation has to die off, and the newer generation is going to get more used to, because your monies are already electronic, right? When you get direct deposits, you don't see that tangible cash. When you swipe your card, it's not a physical dollar bill, but your money is already electronic. So the concept behind that is already instilled in us, has already been ingrained in us. We just have to visualize it that China, Japan is already doing this. They are operating from a Bitcoin system, right? You go into businesses and you make purchases. They're light years ahead of us. It's going to take time, just like anything. Europe, right, was already on a chip reader system with their debit cards. The United States just caught on in 2016, and there's still businesses today that still don't have a chip enabled reader. So it just takes time.
Dude, very, very informative episode for today, man. I'm like I said, ATMs have been around for a long time, and the fact that people aren't banking on them, pun intended, is funny, right? It's funny how these are opportunities that are there if people just knew and had an idea of how to get that information. So, with that being said, we got your information scrolling on the screen about your podcast, but how do we get information about ATM stuff if people are interested?
To get information about ATM stuff, you can look me up on Instagram at Gentleman Style Podcast. On Facebook is the same handle, Gentleman Style Podcast, and on YouTube and any other Apple, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Play, Audible. I'm on all major platforms where you can see or hear podcasts.
Nice, dude. All right. So last little thing, you've been on a lot of different podcasts. You have a podcast yourself. And I want to know, what was your experience like on our show? What did we do well? What can we work on?
This show is phenomenal. I love the music. I love the setup. I love you guys's integrations with the videos. I love that. Anything to improve? I am in awe of you guys. So you guys are the leaders in this. I am not. This is a great show. Great job, guys.
Thanks, Marcus. Thank you very much, man. Dude, 100 episodes ain't no thing, dude. You're just getting started. You only cracked the surface of what this thing has to offer. I'm curious. For me, it's been one of the greatest learning experiences, being able to plug into other entrepreneurs who are doing the damn thing out there, making the mistakes, taking those steps, hitting those failures, but also succeeding in some of the big wins that a lot of the entrepreneurs have had. How's it affected you in your life interviewing different entrepreneurs?
It's grown me, right? Talking with experts and learning, right? And learning from people and learning from great guests who are in industries that most of us haven't heard of, right? 1031 exchanges, right? Those are uncommon things. And I had to stick in, right? Because in podcasting, you don't get paid. You don't get paid right away. You have to stick in the fight. You got to stay in the fight and realize I had to tell myself off. I'd given up on podcasting. I had stopped. I had quit before this. And someone asked me a question about ATMs, and then I sent them to link to my show because I was already previously recorded, and they were like, you need to start this again. So I was inspired to start over again because I gave up before.
It's hard, man. Like sticking to that schedule and getting on here and doing it every day. It ain't the easiest thing in the world, but it's been super, super fun, man. I again, just like I said, everybody who's been on the show has something interesting, just like you laid out those unique business opportunities that are out there, just to understand and learn the language that they speak in that business. And then maybe even reaching out and talking to people to kind of get an idea of, hey, maybe I should get started in this. This sounds very interesting to me. It's been one hell of a ride, and your show, your episode is no different, my friend. Like I said, ATMs, everybody knows how they work. We all have used an ATM before, but to operate it like a business owner, that is unique. And you gave us a bunch of great information. So thank you very much for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me. This is a great show. I appreciate the opportunity.
All right, ladies and gents, ATMs, man, that's it. Go to gentlemanstylepodcast.com. Check out what Marcus has going on. Give him a little support on his podcast, man. Give him a little like, give him a little follow. But most of all, if you're interested in handling the money while you make some money, make sure you guys check out those ATMs and what he's got going on over there. You never know, that little bit of extra cash. I mean, it doesn't sound like a lot, but a couple $100 a month, that will totally change a lot of people's lives. Add multiple machines. Now you're talking a couple thousand. That's huge. That makes life-changing decisions for you. Could put a kid through college. It could, I don't know, buy you the car that you're looking for, take on the vacation that you want, all using the same thing we're already using anyways, a little bit of cash. All right, ladies and gents, we'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace. And we're out.
Thank you for listening to the Business Bros Podcast. Are you looking to get more clients or to increase your income? Hernan, the business bro, can help you generate referrals through the power of podcasting. And James, the insurance bro with Pipeline Insurance, can help you effectively add insurance to your existing business. If you are ready to create wealth today and generational wealth for tomorrow, email businessbros@csfirst.com to schedule a free consultation. Or join the Business Bros Network, www.businessbros.biz.